looking at this upcoming match again, you go out on the West Coast playing Long Beach State. What do you see as Long Beach State is the biggest challenge that you face playing them?
Well, I think easily it's their consistency. They're not going to give you a ton of points. And if you shoot yourself in the foot, and I don't necessarily mean through serving errors, but if you have opportunities to score real points and you don't convert through lack of execution, anything controllable on your side, all of a sudden you've got to even earn more points against them, and that is tough to do. They control the ball well. Offensively, Tuaniga runs a great offense. They'll serve tough. I think that's the biggest concern you have playing a team like that is you almost got to make sure that where they set the bar for their execution, you've got to be very close to it.
And, obviously I know we're still in the middle of the season, but with them having returned so many players from last year, and they won the national championship, I do want to ask, is this UCLA or Long Beach State team the best team you've ever seen in college men's volleyball?
That's a good question. I'm not so sure. I think that they are certainly up there with some of the best. I think Loyola was way underrated when they won it, that's kind of who this team reminds me of. Very accomplished setter who was, again, Loyola in those years. I think their setter was underrated. You had Jeske, you got DeFalco, Jendrick, and those guys in the middle. I'm not so sure that I could say that they are head and shoulders above really any of the national championship teams that have won and are poised to go back to back. They're awfully good. They are awfully good, though.
Yeah. And, Coach, I do want to ask, looking at your team, obviously, tough Midwest road trip. What's the mindset and mood of the team following the matches this weekend?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier here, and it was real interesting because I think if this would have happened in the last 2 to 5 years, it would have been a real interesting dynamic with the team personality. This group, Vinny, has been just outstanding to be in the gym with. It's almost the youth serves us as they don't know what they don't know. They just know they're supposed to go out there and compete, and they're doing that. They're playing hard. In our 12-set losses, I think we've had 9 sets where we're 22 or greater and lost. So you start to say you're that close with the Ohio States, the BYUs, the Lewises, and Loyolas, and when you're 2 or 3 points either way, how can you be anything but excited to say we've got growth going on? There are times where we've got 6 first-year starters on the court. It reminded me of, remember Branch Rickey saying that bases on balls will be the death of me? I think first-year starters will be the death of me.
Yeah.
You just see them play hard, and then something happens where they've not seen that movie before, and next thing you know, you're down 1, you're down 2, or you lose 1 or 2 points, and you just know down the road those guys are going to learn from that, and those things aren't going to happen. But for now, I think we've got to live through it. But living through it and watching these guys play as hard as they play and practice as hard as they practice and staying together as a team, it's a fun group to be around. And I just, for them, I hope the light switch goes on sooner rather than later, and they get to really enjoy some of the fruits of their labor and for what they've gone through.
Yeah. And what player do you feel the first month of the season has been the biggest positive surprise for you guys?
Probably Cal Fisher. He's, just a great athlete. He's been somebody that smaller side but doesn't back away from the bigger guys. I think that his volleyball IQ was higher than we had anticipated it being. He's one of the guys that just loves to play the game and always positive, always a smile on his face. I mean, he's one of those guys, and we've seen enough advertisements over the years, of somebody saying, I get paid to do this. Well, this is kind of like Fish. He walks out in the court and says, what, you mean I can play volleyball too and go to college? I think that's permeating the team. And he's been the guy that I think has been the biggest and the best surprise for us early.
Yeah. And, Coach, I just want to go back to something that you talked about earlier, really the team dynamic this year and kind of the chemistry that you have. And I want to ask, was there anything different that you did as a coaching staff in the off season to really enhance this team chemistry moving into the season compared to last year or previous years?
I don't think there's anything that we said as a staff, we've got to do this so it forces that. I think what we've been trying to do, we've talked to the guys a lot about being good teammates, about making sure you understand and take care of your bodies through nutrition, sleep, take care of the academic side of things, minimize the distractions as much as possible, watch out for each other. I don't think the message has changed. I think this group of guys, when you look at the fifth-year seniors being Lee Smith and Matt McLaren, and the fourth-year guys being Mendy and Braswell and Donarovich and Melvin, those are 6 quality human beings right there. And I think they have a great idea of what they want it to look like, 30 years down the road when they're sitting in their corner office and they've got a EIVA ring and a national championship trophy sitting on the shelf behind them, and somebody comes in and says, tell me about your team. I think they have a real good idea of what they want to be able to say, and I think they're doing a real good job of working toward that right now.
Yeah. And, Coach, final question for me, if you don't mind taking a step or two back a little bit, can you just give us your assessments on the EIVA as a whole so far during the first month of the season?
I really haven't looked at much of the video. I've just seen the records, and it seems like we're all struggling through the non-conference part of it. But I also think that there's a lot of good things going on. I don't think there's anything where there are blowouts occurring. I think the league is being competitive. The great thing now with Bob Bertucci at Sacred Heart full-time, this is the first time ever, Vin, that the EIVA has all full-time head coaches. Wow. Think about that, 2019. And this is the first year that we've had that. So I still stick to – do you remember the interview you and I did at Loyola? After the semifinal, our 5-set semifinal of the 4 where we talked about the EIVA growth?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and we said, yeah.
You got to bring that out. You got to bring that out of the archives and see how close to correct we were when we were talking about it. Because I think good things are happening here. I think we're not too far away from really seeing growth as a league.